It's safe to say that Avengers The Kang Dynasty is one of the most anticipated films in the next couple of years. Not just because it's obviously the prequel to Avengers Secret Wars, but it's also going to be, again, our first outing of the Avengers in quite a long time. So all eyes are on Marvel Studios and Disney. So let's talk about more reported details that involve Kang the Conqueror and a heroic version of the character appearing in the upcoming sequel. So recently we talked about the fact that pretty much everybody who is reporting on plot details related to Avengers The Kang Dynasty is saying that it's 100% guaranteed that Nathaniel Richards will be in the film. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, Nathaniel Richards, obviously long descendant of, well, Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four, and in the comics he becomes one variant of Kang. We actually technically, as far as we know at least, they never confirmed him by name. We already saw him because he is He Who Remains. He was the character we saw in Loki Season 1. So whether they fully explain that or not obviously remains to be seen, but one would think they're going to, and that's exactly what some of these latest reports have stated. And essentially what we're hearing is that He Who Remains, Nathaniel Richards, will actually join the Avengers, but it's not going to be the version we see in Loki. It's one that predates that version. It's a version before everything falls apart. Essentially, it's the first time he's learning about the multiverse, and it's going to be his story of how he essentially rises to become a variant, and how he might be the original Kang that sets off the chain events that lead to him being the only one, keeping the sacred timeline, which ultimately gets undone and causes all the discrepancies, different timelines, and problems in the, not just the MCU, or as we saw in Loki, the TVA has to step in and prune, but also the entirety of the multiverse in every single corner of the Marvel Universe. So, by all these accounts and reports, Nathaniel Richards looks like he's going to be very important, thus connecting to what I talked about previously, where the Fantastic Four are going to be a lot more important and prominent in the MCU, and their importance is going to be, well, very played up because it kind of has to be. They're the Fantastic Four. And obviously in one multiverse already that Doctor Strange went to, we know Reed Richards and Sue already had children, so there's no saying how exactly far some timelines go and some don't, but obviously since they're not being pruned and they're allowed to exist, things just keep on happening. So it'll be interesting to see how exactly they bring Nathaniel Richards in, but also how they're going to explain that he ultimately does become the version of Loki, and if they in fact do end up scrapping all that, because you would kind of have to if he learns a lesson. Or maybe they just tie it all back around and the timeline has to play out the way it did, and then after Secret Wars they restore a sacred timeline. But again, that'll all depend on what direction they take in Secret Wars, which currently we believe isn't even being really written to the degree that Kang Dynasty is. So it'll be a bit of time till we can talk about that. But what do you guys think about He Who Remains officially joining the Avengers as just Nathaniel Richards and actually being important to the plot of stopping Kang, aka himself?